Okay, got it. Yeah, okay. Something. So, yeah, so thank you, Sonia, very much for the introduction. And thanks very much for coming this evening. And I will talk a bit about science and spirituality, and especially how a change in our mindset can help us dealing with all the problems we're seeing right now. Because we have a lot of problems in the world, climate, biodiversity, the war in Ukraine. So many issues are going on, and what can we do? No? What is the remedy for all this? And I would like to start with a quotation from Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was the inventor of the AC, the alternative current. So what comes out of the electricity which comes out here from the electrical switchboard, that's because of Nikola Tesla. He built the first power station in New York, and at Niagara Falls, I think it was.
Can you speak a little louder?
I should speak louder.
Please.
I'm speaking quite loud. I'm speaking loud or not? Huh? Not. No, Sonia, they want me to speak. There is no amplification. Anyhow, I will try to speak a bit louder, but why you don't come and sit there? Anyhow. Huh? So, Nikola Tesla said, gave a very nice sentence: "The energy of a single thought may determine the motion of the universe." So, what does it mean? It means a single thought of mine may have an effect, an impact, what happens in the whole universe. So that's a bit the theme of the talk today, and let us go into it. And I titled it "The Never-Ending Story." In Germany, there was an author, Michael Ende, and he has written a very nice book called "The Never-Ending Story." And so what he did is, it's a fairy tale with a young boy, and he has to go through many tribulations and tests and so on. And the world starts to disappear. And at the end, he has to give a new name to the new empress. And once he does this, the whole universe, the whole world starts again. So that's why the fairy tale is called The Never-Ending Story. And I copied that title because I feel it's very nice. So let us go straight into science. There is a very well-known scientist in UK. His name is Sir Roger Penrose. And Sir Roger Penrose came up, is a professor emeritus of the University of Oxford and a very famous mathematician. And he came up with a very nice theory that actually the universe is expanding. Then once it is fully expanded, it will collapse, and then it will expand again. And the mathematics behind it is quite interesting. Since the 70s, 60s, and 70s, we all know that the universe is expanding. The scientists had made some calculations and observations with the latest microscopes and so on, and they could see that the universe is expanding, and mathematically, they could calculate that it comes from a point of origin. So that's how the theory of Big Bang was actually created. You might have heard of this theory. It's quite famous and quite used as a standard theory and even taught, I think, in school and so on. So Roger Penrose actually said that the universe is expanding, and there comes a moment when all the stars, all the matter, everything has expanded so much, there's no more energy left over for any movement. And when there's no more movement, he says, then something very special will happen. Then time and space will stop. Because when movement stops, time will also stop. No, when everything stops, also time will stop, because time is always measured with movement. No? The best clocks in the world is the atom clock, and it's working on oscillation of atoms. So he said when the movement stops, the time will stop. And that's called the time-space continuum. And that's very interesting, because then you come to the beginning. Let us have a look how it looks like. So here you can see actually the Big Bang of the universe, the beginning. And at the beginning of the universe, there is something called the singularity. That is when there is no time and no space. That's sometimes also an experience you can make in deep meditation. If you go very, very deep in meditation, time and space stops. And that is also called the singularity. So now what happened is, from that moment onwards, is an incredible small point. Everything is inside like a seed. Then the whole universe is being created. Then first of all, it is very hot, a lot of gas. And we are here right now, where are all the galaxies. And somewhere in the galaxy is the Earth. And we're sitting on the Earth, and we can observe all this now. And we can even talk here and discuss this. And with our Hubble Space Telescope and all these kind of things, we can see all these universes, the galaxies. And because of mathematics and observation, we know it started all here. So Penrose says it will expand further. And then comes a moment when there's no more energy for movement. And then time and space will collapse. And mathematically, it's very interesting, this is the same as the singularity. So what he says is, after one Big Bang, everything will fall back, it will bounce back, and then again, mathematically, another eon will come. And that's very interesting, because he's the first person to say what will happen before the Big Bang and what will happen at the end. So his theory is that we're living in a ever-expanding universe. At the end, it overexpanded, it collapses, and then it starts again. So the big question is, what is actually our observation? And if we look very, very careful, we can see how time is actually passing by. So we have here the time arrow, which goes through. And then we have the dimensions here, the space, left side, right side, upper side, the 3 dimensions. We have the time space, and we are right here in this point. We are the observer. And whatever happens in the past, whatever happens in the future, it comes to us, we observe it, and then it goes in the future and it passes by. And we are actually all the time in the moment. To project something in the future and project something in the past is actually an illusion, because we are always the observer at the moment right now in this moment. So this is very interesting to understand the dimensions in space-time. So we have the light and time passing by. We have the dimensions, and we are the observer there. And quite interestingly, if you look in Hinduism, you have this old idea or concept of the cycle of time. This is from a traditional Indian webpage. And in Hinduism, time is not linear. Time is a big cycle. And that's quite interesting, because if you look in Christianity, for example, you have also a paradise. Then we fall out of the paradise, and we slowly come to a situation which is called hell. And at the end, there will be God's judgment, and then another paradise will come. In Hinduism, you have what is called yugas, or ages, or eons. And you have the Sat Yuga, the Treta Yuga, the Dwapar, and the Kali Yuga. Sat Yuga, or the Greek called it the Golden Age, is actually in Hindi translated means the age of truth. And as per the Indian philosophy, now we're in the Kali Yuga. Kali is a very fierce deity in India, which is described as a goddess riding on a lion. And she has her enemies, the skulls of her enemies are around her head, and she has a sword in her hand, and she's very fierce. And Kali represents the karma which is being settled. And if you look at the world right now, you can see we have a lot of karma or bad action, a lot of wars, climate change, so many things are happening. And Kali is representing that settlement of those karma. So we are now in Kali Yuga, the age where everything is being settled. And as per the Indian philosophy, at the end of Kali Yuga, there will another Treta Yuga come. That's quite interesting because it corresponds with this idea of this Sir Roger Penrose. And in Brahma Kumaris, many of you might have seen it or heard about it. We also believe in the cycle of time, that time is cyclic, and that we have a paradise, which is called the Golden Age and the Silver Age. Then we lose that, and that's where our modern history starts. And we have the Copper and the Iron Age, and we are now in this confluence age where the old goes into the new. And that's why we can see all these problems right now in the world, because we are in high-speed transformation. Do you agree that we are in transformation right now? So many things are happening, and it's a bit difficult to understand actually what's going on and to put a perspective or to put it into perspective. It's quite complicated. So, and just to see where we are right now, this is a report which has been published 2 weeks ago. It's very, very latest. It's the Earth Commission. And in the Earth Commission, this is a group of 50 top scientists of the world, like all the directors of the research institutes in Europe and America and in Asia. They are in this Earth Commission, and they give reports and recommendations to the government. And they published a study about 2 weeks ago. It actually came out quite recently. And they have defined 8 major areas which define or allow life of us on this planet. And they have, for example, one area is the groundwater sources. So we need groundwater to survive. No? You all agree we need water. Without water, no problem. Not possible. So groundwater has to be there. Then we need surface water, that we also need. Then we need nitrogen is very important in the soil. Phosphorus is very important in the soil. Aerosol pollution should not become too much, otherwise it becomes dangerous. Then we have climate change. We have a functional integrity. I don't know 100% what this is. And we have a natural ecosystem area. This is biodiversity and so on. So what you can see here is this green is the safe area. Everything what is inside the green is the safe area where human life on planet Earth can thrive. And you see the little round red point, that's where we are right now. So groundwater, we are already in critical area, means groundwater has been depleted. In India, for example, every 2, 3, 4 years, they have to drill another 20 meters deeper because groundwater is sinking. And the big cities will run out in a couple of years of groundwater. Big metropolitan cities with 20 million people, 15 million people, So getting a big problem. In India also, so much surface water is polluted, not drinkable. So we are also here already outside of the green area. We are in unsafe territory. Same nitrogen. We are using fertilizers, and we're putting also the, the sewage from the animals. I don't know the English word. They put it on the fields. The farmers, from the cows. Manure, they throw the cow dung and all this. So all our soil is already overloaded with nitrogen and phosphorus also because of fertilizer. We are already out of safe zone. Then aerosol pollution also already become critical. Climate change, we're just at the threshold. And natural ecosystem also, we're already out. Surface water also, we're already in critical area. So they say in 7 out of 8 areas, we already left the safe space for us as humanity to survive on planet Earth. So this is just one area which they summarize in this report. But if you look in biodiversity, it's a very critical situation. So many species are disappearing. If you look economic situation, since Corona, our global economy has been shattered and supply chains have been disrupted. You see the Ukraine war is going on, tensions all over the world. We have a lot of migrants that are trying to come to Europe because in Africa, for example, climate change is already playing a very disruptive role, and many areas become too hot, or there are no more rains, so farming is no more possible. So these people can only migrate. So they try to come to us on little boats, and the boat sinks, then they all die. So a lot of tragedies happening, a lot of dramas happening. And interestingly, if you look historically, it is us, the West, who has caused the climate change. It means the rich West, we are polluting the water, the earth, and everything since 100, 150 years. We have industrialized, we're all rich, we have a good life. And most suffering countries are the third world countries in Africa and in Asia. So there's also a big issue of justice, in this whole complex. That's why these climate conferences are so complicated. So you can see also in this picture here, where are the hotspots? Everything what is red is already critical. So you see India is critical, Europe is critical, Middle East is critical, parts of Africa are critical, North America here, California, and many areas in South America, they are critical. Means we have overloaded and we are outside of the safe territory for humanity. And the situation right now, the trends are in climate change or in all parameters. If you look at the trends are quite bad. They're quite negative. Despite politicians, they say we're doing, it's not enough because it costs money and it means a change of lifestyle. So what is happening, if you look, the end of the world becomes mainstream and it's a new paradigm. Destruction becomes mainstream. And you can see if you look into the history or into movies, in the last 20 years, a lot of disaster movies came actually through Hollywood. The Day After Tomorrow or this or that. And a whole genre has been created with disaster movies which describe the end of the world. Either a supervolcano erupts or a meteorite hits the world, or there's a nuclear war, or this or that happen. And the result is always that there will be big disruption for humanity. So also at the climate conference, when we meet the scientists there, officially they say, oh, we will do this or we will do that. But in private, many people tell us that the situation is quite critical. So you can say there's a new paradigm, there's a new mainstream idea, and that is destruction. This is Armageddon. As the Greeks said it, the end of the world and a new beginning. But as we understand, it is, as per the Indian philosophy, as per the spiritual tradition, it is a transition time, nothing to be worried. And this transition time is not only for the earth, it is for the whole universe. The whole universe is undergoing a transition time. So don't worry, it's not only our small planet which is in trouble. Whole physical universe is undergoing a big, big, big transformation. So, and there is a very interesting book which came out recently. It's written by Katie Mack, and she describes the end of everything. Quite interesting title, and it's a fully scientific book, and she summarizes 5 major theories how ultimately there's destruction and the end of reality and personal death. It's quite interesting book because it's all physics. It's not anything emotional or so. And she summarized 5 of the major theories how our world actually can end. One theory is the big crunch, that gravity will become so strong that everything will be crunched. That's one theory, all mathematically with formulas and this and that. The heat death, everything will overheat and then we all get cooked. The big rip, everything will be torn apart also by gravity. Vacuum decay, everything will expand and then there will be vacuum left and everything will cool down, and that's also the end of the show. And the last one is the bounce. This is what Sir Roger Penrose also suggests, that the whole universe is expanding, falling back, expanding and falling back. That's called the big bounce. So she has these 5 theories. Book is very interesting. I read the summary and it's quite mind-boggling because all these theories are based on evidence, on mathematics, and many scientists around the world are doing experiments and research if any of this may happen. Of course, some of these things are happening in millions of years, but some of these things, she said in her book, they can happen anytime. So even science is considering a fully transformation, an end of everything. It's quite interesting. And now let's see what science is actually, how science and the history of science has developed, and if actually science can tell us everything. And quite interestingly, Max Planck, you might have heard about him, very famous physicist from the 1920s. He was a German. This was the golden era of quantum physics in the 1920s and the 1930s in Berlin. They were all in Berlin. That was Heisenberg was one, Max Planck was one, Einstein was one, Schrödinger, Fermi, many, many famous scientists. And he said, science cannot solve the ultimate mystery of nature because we ourselves are part of nature. And therefore, the mystery that we are trying to solve cannot be resolved because we are part of it. So we cannot resolve a mystery, we are part of it. This is what Max Planck said. And in the 20s, there was all this interesting new developments coming up in science. And this is a brief history of science that you get an idea. Until the 17th century, humanity was thinking there is a God and there will be an end of time. There will be a revelation. There will be a cleansing process, and God will come and play a major role, and there will be a glorious time for humanity after that cleansing process. It was called the judgment, in Christian terms. But it was not only believed in Western Christian cultural tradition, it was also believed in Hinduism, and people believed in it. It was their day-to-day understanding how the world is functioning. Then we had the scientific industrial revolution. 17th century it started, and one of the most famous scientists at those days was Newton. And Newton came up with the mathematics to explain the motion of our planets. And he came up with the law of gravity. If you have an apple and it will fall down, it will fall 1 meter and 1 second and 1 kilo and this and that and this and that. So he started with the gravitational law, and it was a revolution because suddenly scientists could calculate the trajectory of the planets in our universe. Suddenly they could make, okay, the sun is so much mass, it has so much energy and so much spin, and that's why it is moving like this. And the Earth had so much mass and the moon is so big. And suddenly they could calculate, and it made sense. Huh? So first was Newton, which came up with all these ideas and theories. And then later, and then of course many other scientists, it became all more complicated. And then one of the other milestones was, so you can say with Newton, the mechanistic worldview started. God and spirituality was pushed aside. Scientists said, okay, whatever you think, whatever you feel, it does not have any effect. And this was the beginning of seeing the world as a big machine, the mechanistic worldview of our times. And this is still until today predominant. And we have kicked out God, we have kicked out spirituality, and science told us whatever you feel, whatever you think, whatever is going on here, it does not have any effect with what happens in the world. Later we will find out if that is true. So then after this mechanistic worldview, one of the big exponents was also Einstein. He came up with a theory of relativity, and he helped us to develop the Big Bang theory, black holes, and his theory was responsible also to develop atomic bombs. So Einstein put up this theory of relativity, and you could explain and calculate many things with this new theory. And Einstein became very, very famous also about of this. But then in the 1920s, they found out that Einstein's theory is working in the big things. But if you go in the microcosmos, in the small things, then relativity theory is no more working properly. It's no more accurate. And that's where they came up with quantum mechanics, mathematics of the small things. And quantum mechanics then started in the late 20s and is responsible for computers, chips, all these kind of small developments which we're having now. And now we have quantum encryption, quantum medicine, quantum communication, and so many things are based now on quantum mechanics, which is the science of the very small subatomic particles. And in quantum mechanics, things get a little bit weird. Because in quantum mechanics, as you will see later, you can create two particles at the same time, and they talk to each other and influence each other faster than the speed of light. And the problem is that quantum mechanics and the theory of relativity are not yet really matching each other. And that's where science is looking for the unified field theory, which they don't have yet. It's quite interesting. So, and many of these famous scientists were Max Planck, Einstein, Niels Bohr. I think Bohr was from here, no?
Yeah, he's Danish.
He's Danish, no? Then Louis de Broglie, Max Born, Paul Dirac, Heisenberg, Pauli, Schrödinger, and Feynman. These were all these famous scientists in the 20s. And in the beginning, Einstein had a bit of problems with this, but later he agreed that they were right. And so here comes a very nice little story about the science and the situation right now. You see, history of physics. Aristotle said a bunch of stuff that was wrong, you know. Galileo and Newton fixed then things up. They said, okay, motion of the planets. Then Einstein broke everything again with his theory. Now we basically got all worked out except for small, big, hot, cold, fast, heavy, and dark stuff, turbulence, and the concept of time. So basically we have not found out anything. And I saw some time ago a YouTube discussion of two scientists, and I tell you, one was exponent of the string theory, and the other one was talking about multiple universes. Wow, they went, the moderator didn't have to do much because they were arguing at each other quite fiercely. And I understood in science, nothing is really clear right now, what's going on. And there's quite a lot of theories. Some scientists say there are multiple universes parallel at the same time. You know, some Hollywood movies are there where the superheroes, they travel from one universe to the other one and they all exist, you know, all these Marvel comics. And other people say, no, it's a string theory. String theory is so weird, I don't understand it. You know, so there are so many different theories about the world and what is actually going on, and they don't agree amongst each other also. And it's very difficult to understand also, if you're not a real expert into it. So, but the big question, which has all interested all of these people and which interests also all of us, is the big question, is our mind entangled with matter? Because, you know, you remember I said 200 years ago, they kicked out the mind, they kicked out God. They say, whatever you think, whatever you feel, it doesn't matter. It has no effect in reality. So the big question for us spiritual people is, hey, is there not something truth in it? Is there maybe the chance that there is an effect and there's a connection? And quite interestingly, in the last years, many new research fields has opened up. And you can see here, we have now quantum field, we have quantum consciousness, and we have quantum mysticism. So there are a lot of theories and models which try to explain the behavior of the mind in respect towards matter. And there are hypotheses, however, concepts and ideas, but they are not yet mainstream. The debate and speculation is going on. And a lot of research is going on for the God particle, which is Higgs boson. What is clear, science, hardcore science, so far rejects the idea of soul and God. But that's very interesting. They analyzed the structure of the universe, and they found out that the universe is designed in a very spectacular manner. You know, there is a mathematical formula. If our universe is a joke of evolution by Darwin, you know, let's say accidentally, or there is an intelligence design. And the ratio is 1 to 10 billion that there is an intelligence design. 1 to 10 billion in favor that it is intelligence design, because there are so many special things in our body, in this world, in the DNA, in how the cosmos is being structured, that the science agrees there has to be a master plan. There has to be a design behind it, and there has to be an intelligence in this design. So they don't call this intelligence God, because they kicked out God 200 years ago, but they call this the intelligence design plan, after which the whole universe is being created, including our bodies and our existence. So they say there is something, it's not an accident. It's quite interesting. And that is, meanwhile, more or less also mainstream in science, that they agree that there is some intelligence in the design. You can also Google it, intelligence design of universe. You will get many articles and ideas, and a lot of debate and speculation is going on. So now let us have a look if there is a connection. And there have been a lot of experiments being done in the last 30, 40 years, where experiments have been done under laboratory conditions in universities, Harvard, Oxford, all the big universities, many research institutes. They experimented, is the mind able to influence physical reality? One is called the Pearl experiment. Then William Tiller, he did experiments with the pH value of water. Robert Sheldrake developed the theory of morphokinetic fields. Albert Popp talked about biophoton. This is light particles which are influenced by the mind, and healing through prayer. A lot of research has been done if prayer is able to change the condition of your body. And yes, it is changing the condition of your body. If you pray a lot and have a lot of positive thoughts, the composition of your blood changes and the white blood particles increase, and your body is more healthy. So all this research has been done, and also Emoto did with the water crystals, and many more have been done. I only want to pick out 2 or 3 to give you a little bit of an idea. So there's a famous scientist from Harvard. Her name is Ellen Langer. You can buy her books in Amazon. She's very famous, and she came up with a positive philosophy, positive psychology. She's the founder of decision-making, aging, and mindfulness theory. She had many books and hundreds of experiments she carried out. She did a very interesting experiment with old people. So she took 20 old people and examined their health condition, all about 80. You know, like this problem, this problem, this problem, and all. She divided in 2 groups. And one group she put in the house A, which was equipped quite normal, means normal food, normal bed, normal cloth, normal TV, and so on. And the house B, the other 10 people, this was designed and equipped like in the 1960s. So there was television, black and white. There was newspapers from the 1960s. The food was from the 1960s, and they had to even wear cloth from the 1960s. And she asked them to talk also of stories and political events of the 1960s, you know, Cuba crisis and Korea War and stuff like that. Very, very old. And after 1 month, she called both groups and did a thorough examination of their health situation after this experiment. And what was quite interesting was that the experimental group in house B, they showed incredible improvements in physical strength, dexterity, gait, posture, perception, memory, cognition, taste sensitivity, hearing, and vision. Means they become younger. And some of their ailments, their diseases, they disappeared. And some of these people, they said, some of these old people said, hey, what I'm doing in an old age home, I leave this place now, I go home and I want to travel the world. Just because they thought they're living in a place 30, 40 years earlier. And they felt young, you know, because they discussed on things of their youth. They dressed as if they're young. And they ate as if they are young. And they had the newspapers of that time. And that had an influence on their body, and suddenly the aging process reversed. So that's her experiment. It's very famous experiment. She did another experiment, which is also very well known. It's an experiment with crossword puzzles. So she took 50 students and she divided them in two groups. 25 students had a positive crossword puzzle and 25 had a bad crossword puzzle. So tell me some good words, positive words.
Happiness.
Happiness,
Love.
love, happiness,
Joy.
joy, success, rich, successful, good. These are positive words. So 2 hours they had to make crossword puzzle with positive words. Then she had the other 25, they had negative words. Tell me some negative words.
Angry.
Angry. Depression, very bad, yeah. Hell, yeah, that was my one. Okay, hair loss, depression, angry, diarrhea is also very bad, or whatever, so many bad feelings and emotions we have, so they had this. So after the 2 hours, she took both groups and she sent one after the other into another building on the 3rd floor. What she did not tell them was that she installed a camera in the stairs. They had to go up by walking up 3 floors, and she stopped the time. So what was quite interesting was the students, all young students, the students with the positive crossword puzzle, they walked and they walked up the stairs, dum, 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 and they were up. And then came the guys with a bad crossword puzzle, and they took double the time. And when they came to the stairs, they walked up like old people. I feel so old. What's going on? Just 2 hours, positive words or negative words had a profound effect on their behavior, on their strength, and how they felt. That's why in meditation, we have this affirmation with positive thoughts. I'm good, everything is all right. Even if I have a disease, it will settle, everything will become okay. Because it has a very profound effect on our abilities, on our health, but also on our mental health. It has an incredible effect on our happiness also. If you tell yourself 10 times, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, after 10 times, you're happy and your blood count changes and shows more immune cells. It's quite amazing. So you can actually program yourself. And it works. Quite amazing. That's the power of your mind. That's the power of your emotion. There's another very famous experiment called the double slit experiment. And this also indicates how our consciousness plays a very, very interesting role in relation to matter. In this experiment, science wanted to find out this already in the 1920s. You can Google this also. It's in YouTube, there are little films and all this. So they wanted to find out what is the nature of light. So one option is light behaves like a particle. You have a light source, you have a screen with 2 holes, and you have a screen where the light falls on. Or light behaves like a wave, and you have many, many light points on the screen. So what do you think? What is light? Is it a particle or is it a wave? Who believes it's a wave? Hands up. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Who believes it's a particle? Okay. And you all others, you play safe. Okay. I did that in school also. I never put my hands up when they ask. So it's quite interesting because they got sometimes both results. And that was very confusing because in science, light cannot be a particle or a wave. Either it is a particle or it is a wave, but it cannot be both at the same time, But they got sometimes this result and sometimes that result. And that was very confusing for them. So they changed the laboratory, this, that. And finally, they found out something is influencing the outcome of the experiment. It's the observer. If you observe the experiment, it behaves like a particle. If you change your observation, flip, it becomes a wave. So what does it mean? Our inner world, our thoughts, our observation has a profound impact in reality. And that's now what quantum physics also tells us, that if you observe something, you shape it. And only when you observe it, you will find certain, how you can say, parameters. If you don't observe it, things will change. So our observation, our attention on something has an incredible effect on the physical reality. And that's what all these experiments have confirmed. Our mind shapes all the time the reality. Can you imagine that? You observe your body and you say, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, and slowly you get healthy. Or you say, oh my God, my knee is paining, it's getting sick, it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. You know, there is one more factor I will explain, it's about karma, but quite a lot depends on our mindset. How do I think? How do I feel? But in spirituality, it's very clear. We are saying mind is above matter. Mind is that what is controlling. Matter is that what is following. You understand? You agree? Can you agree to that? You believe that? Mind is the dominating factor. Matter follows the shape. And our observation has that influence. All these experiments the last 40, 50 years, all this quantum physics, they confirm it. So our thoughts and our visions actually create reality. So what we can say is that many of the problems outside there in the world, they are a reflection of our collective consciousness. If I lose my peace in my mind, peace in the world will be lost after some time. If we all lose our peace in our mind collectively, if we fight in family, we fight in the world, at work, we fight in politics, we fight in society, we fight everywhere, everywhere's trouble, trouble will be also lost. Peace will be lost in the world. If we have a mental pollution in our mind, after sometimes we have environmental pollution, which then comes back to us. This is how it works, because our mind goes into our action go into reality, and they shape the reality. So we have also a very nice project which confirms that again. It's called yogic farming, sustainable yogic farming. In India, since many, many years, we have a rural wing, means an environmental rural wing, which works with the farmers. So we did a project with them, started, I think, 10 years ago, Sonia, in which we sort of teach the farmers meditation. You know, meditation, like they were meditating with the seeds. And so they were saying, okay, you are very good. You will germinate very nicely. You will not need any fertilizer, and no bugs will attack you. And I love you very much. You're a very good seed. So these are good thoughts for the seeds, no? I sometimes talk to your plants like that. When you are giving water, you know, sometimes a plant is not doing well. Or you say, oh, come on, I give you nice water, you grow. No? You tell to the plant to grow and recover. So the same things they learn professionally every day, 15 minutes in the morning and in the evening. And now you see some interesting results. So here you see a happy yogic farmer lady collecting the carrots. And you see here the carrots which are purely conventionally grown with chemicals, you know, with fertilizer and all this and some pesticides, you know. In the same field, one field is this, next field is yogic farming, and the third one place is organic. In the middle, these are the carrots which are growing only by love and compassion and good thoughts. No fertilizer, no pesticides, nothing. And the third one is organic, means with organic methods, you know, like natural fertilizer and this and that and this and that. And they told that the best taste, the most yummy ones are the yogic ones. So the yogic ones are the biggest, no fertilizer and no pesticides and no bugs. Isn't that interesting? See, here we have the same result for wheat. Huh? Quite obvious, you can see the difference without meditation and here with meditation. It's quite a difference. Huh? So the results of this yogic farming are so stunning that now we are identifying 70 farms in India. So we have done this project over a couple of years. We made a scientific report, which was published in an agriculture magazine. And now we are selecting 70 farms in India, which will follow and adopt yogic farming. And the Indian Ministry of Agriculture is interested to adopt this training method, yogic farming, on a larger scale, because it saves us money and it protects us from fertilizers. It protects us from pesticides. You know, it's a big problem, pesticides. No? And fertilizer is a big problem. You know, the main ingredients of fertilizer is oil. I didn't know that. So we're putting all this in the soil. No? And then we eat it. So you can see this is the effect of the yogic farming. This is a practical experiment which we're doing since 10 years, but we're not the only ones. So many people have done it around the world. So many people have done this kind of experiments. You know, in old days in Germany, in South Germany, you can see that it's still happening in South Germany, in the Catholic lands. Every year the priest goes on the fields. There's a procession. I think it's in spring. And they go in the fields and they spray the fields with the holy water, you know, and they give blessings to the fields so there will be a good harvest. And this was done all over Germany, but in the Protestant areas nowadays, they do it less. But in the Catholic countryside, means half of Germany is still Catholic, you know, they're still doing it. The priest goes every year, there's a big procession, they have a Marie statue, and they walk outside the village, go in the fields, and he's blessing all the fields. And he says, good harvest, good rain, good soil, good days, good that, and they do it. Are they doing anything like that here also?
No.
Nothing. Yeah, we are the Protestants. I'm also
Protestant.
Yeah, we have protested all this and abolished all that old belief system. Sonia, you are from the farming. Have they done something like that?
No.
Nothing. Probably. Also not in old days.
Maybe we have.
We ask your mom when we go. Her mom is how old now? 84?
86.
86. Her mom may know. In old days, they did it everywhere. You know, because everybody believed it's important to get the blessing from above and have positive thoughts for a good harvest. Everybody thought it. And you see the experiments we've done, it's actually working. And that's what's for science so confusing, because suddenly they find out, oops, the mind has an impact, which was not supposed to be, because the mind, you cannot put it into a mathematical formula. So here's another nice quote from our Leonardo da Vinci. And he said, realize that everything connects to everything. They say when a butterfly here flies around with his wings, it might create a thunderstorm 5,000 kilometers away. Everything is connected to everything. And our mindset, our thoughts and our emotions, they are connected to everything what is happening. And this is a big responsibility, because suddenly you become aware, oops, what am I actually thinking the whole day? How is actually my mindset? Am I pure? Am I happy? Am I positive? Or am I doubtful, negative, angry, peaceless, all these kind of things? So this is the new scientific mindset. My inner world and the outer world are interconnected. And that's an incredible statement, because it gives us responsibility, but it also gives us greatest opportunity. Huh? Both. Huh? So what should we do? Very basic. In the morning when you get up, here in the Brahma Kumaris, we have an early morning meditation called Amrit Vela, the time of nectar. And you think positive about yourself. Can we do that when you wake up? Huh? I'm good. Today will be a very good day. Even if it's a Monday, I have to go to work. It will still be good.
It's a lovely day.
It's a lovely day. It's raining outside. Doesn't matter. Everything is all right. Think positive about yourself. Your bank account is finished. Your car has a puncture. Don't worry. Everything will be all right. Everything can be resolved. Think positive about yourself. Give a blessing to you. You know, I'm fine. Body is all right. Everything will work out. Don't worry. Be happy. There's a famous song, no? Don't worry, be happy. No, it became a #1 hit. So that's what we have to do. But in a systematic manner, you know, not just one time. You have to keep it and make that like a feeling, to make it a bit stronger so it has an effect. You know, in our modern time, concentration power also has become very weak. And they made some testing, and an average person can hold one thought for 7 seconds. 7 seconds, then the mind jumps already to the next thing. So in meditation, we try to make it stable and powerful. I am good. Everything will become good. And once you master that, you can think positive on others. You can give blessings to your family members, husband, kids, friends, people at work. I love you. You're very good. Even if they are the biggest problem for you, you just give them blessing. Very, very good. Very, very, very good. I was in a nature cure training, and in Bangalore before I came, maybe a month ago, and for 2 weeks. And in the morning we made a yoga session. And so one part of that yoga session was a breathing exercise. And at the end, they said, ho, ho, ha, 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 everything very good, very good, very good. You know, so we had to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And everybody started smiling. So we have to think positive about us and then positive about others. And it has an impact. You try it. And then once we master that, we can give blessings to the world. And once we start giving blessings to the world, we become a healer. You know, we start healing the world. And that's what the world needs. The world needs our love and compassion. And it needs healing vibrations. Vibrations of peace, love, and compassion. And as we have seen, matter is reacting to that. Trees are reacting, plants are reacting, animals are reacting, other people are reacting. Everything reacts because we observe all the time reality. All the time we look at things, and by looking at them, we shape them and we influence them. So we have an incredible creative potential. Do you agree? We have an incredible creative potential. No? Actually, the key to change is with us. We can actually not complain to others or to the politicians or this or that. You know, the key for transformation is with all of us on an individual level. Of course, we're all different, you know, in our self-realization, in God realization, and in the transformation. But once you understand, you can start acting. Huh? So now our mindset, how is our mindset being structured? It's our thoughts, it's our emotions and feelings, and it's our visualizations. So we can make that positive, no? Our thoughts positive, our emotions and feelings positive, you know, and then we start visualizing very nice things, you know, beautiful things. But then sometimes still it's not happening. There's one factor which sometimes stops us to become rich and famous and beautiful. What is stopping us? It's karma. Karma is the action of the past. And I always remember my spiritual teacher, Dadi Janki. She left us 3 years ago in the middle of Corona. She was 103 years old. And Dadi was a very wise lady, very powerful. She came here to Copenhagen, Sonia. He came here to Copenhagen. She traveled all over the world. I think more than 120 countries she visited. Very powerful, very determined, very faithful, very accurate. And she said, become an angel, become a helper of God. Be loving and compassionate and be a healer for the world and be a guide to the light. And she once gave me an explanation about karma, which I never forget. What is actually karma? Karma is the action. And the action is being recorded and influences us. Some is neutral karma, some is positive karma, and some is negative karma. And there are 3 signs for negative karma. So, and these signs now we can go through them. So the first sign is, I want something and it doesn't happen. I want to become, actually, I have a very good voice, you know, and I always wanted to become a famous singer. Yeah. But people around me, when I start singing, they say, come on, Golo, shut up, you know, just stop it. And I think, oh my God, why they don't realize I'm a good singer, you know? So I want something and it's not happening. You know this? It happens sometimes in your life. You want to become rich, huh? You want to have other kids, another husband. You want to live in a different city, something like that, and it's not happening. It's happening sometimes to you. You want something, it's not happening. Yes. Sure, huh? Sure, yes, of course. It's happening all the time. You know, I see my bank account and I say, oh my God, there should be at least 1 or 2 more zeros, you know, on the numbers. And it's like, oh, you know, yeah, you know. So many things we want to have or to achieve, and it's not happening because karma, shadow of the past, does not allow our thoughts to become reality. It blocks us. Maybe I was a famous singer in a previous life and I've misused it, you know. So this life, I cannot become famous. Drama, the situation does not allow it to me. This is karma. The actions of the past, they influence me and they create traumas. They block me. So my thoughts are not penetrating and become reality. The second sign is suddenly something happens to me. You know about these things?
Yeah.
You know about these things? You know, like 6 months ago in Mount Abu, I was a bit in a hurry. My mind was like doing 5 things at the same time. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that. And then somebody has gifted me mineral tablets. You know, and at that time I had 3 mineral tablets, you know, this one, and this one. I just took them because I had them. And this was even the last one. And I thought, that's nice, it's the last one. So I took all 3 tablets in one go, a little bit of water, and oops, and I wanted to go somewhere else. And 1 tablet got stuck. You know, a little bit rough surface, not a smooth one. You know, be careful with the rough tablets. Got stuck here. I coughed and it went into my lung. And I tell you, from that moment onwards, all my plans for the next coming weeks, they became obsolete. I went to a good friend. I started coughing. I couldn't breathe for 10 seconds. Everything was shut. Then I coughed and then I could breathe, but the tablet went wrong. So I went to a good nurse. She says, oh, it will dissolve. Don't worry about it. But it wasn't that easy. The karmical account, which was there, was quite serious. After 3 days, I hardly could walk. 1 lung collapsed, got inflamed. I went to the hospital and the doctor said, why you didn't come earlier? I said, I thought it will work out by itself. He said, no. So they made a CT scan with me and I wanted to go home. The doctor said, no, hospital, admitted, tomorrow morning, operation. One lung was collapsed, no? Pneumonia, blah, 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 blah. And I like, really? And he said, yep. So They admitted me, this, that, and the next day I had 2 hours bronchoscopy where they go with a pipe into your lung, and it was pretty complicated because it already fall in many, many pieces and they had to suck it out. And for that operation, 6 people were in the operation theater. The only good news was when I was looking up at the operation lamp, I have helped the hospital and brought many equipment from Germany. I recognized that lamp I brought from an operation theater in Germany. I installed it there. That was my last thought before the anesthesia kicked in. I was gone. So in the bad karma that I got sick, I had some good karma also because I helped to the hospital. And after 2 hours, bling, I woke up and the doctor said, we got it all out. But I was in the ICU and I was done. You know, my lips were blue. This was all sour because 2 hours they had a pipe here and glug, 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 you know. And Sonia then came later, and for 2 weeks, I hardly could walk. You know, I felt like an old man. I just could make it 20 steps and that was it, you know. Then slowly, 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 I recovered. Now I'm pretty fit again. But that was suddenly something happens. Suddenly you get sick. You go to the doctor, some problem, or you fell down, you break something. You had an experience like that? Have experience like that? No? Yeah. So here you are. Welcome to the club of karma. And the third sign of karma is you are suffering from interaction with relatives or friends. That happens sometimes to you.
Yeah.
You're laughing. Huh? Yeah, it's quite normal. No? You have some expectations in your family to the kids, to the husband, you know, to your relative, to your uncles, this, that. You want them to do this or you want them to do that. And they're stubborn. They don't follow and they make you suffer. Or you have some legal litigation with somebody, you know, something happens, this or the other. So if any of these 3 things is there, it means you have a karmical account, and this karmical account does not allow you and your thoughts to penetrate and become reality. This is why sometimes we have to suffer for actions, negative actions of the past. And we first have to resolve them before our thoughts actually really, our positive thoughts really work out. And the blessings which we send really work out. So I'm now since 40 years with the Brahma Kumaris. And I hope after the intermezzo with the tablet, now the major karmical accounts of the past are resolved and things will become more smooth and more easy. But you never know. As a yogi, you say, inshallah, as it comes, it comes. You know, whatever happens, it happens, but it is good. So now the big question is how to deal with the karma of the past, how to crack it. In Christianity, it's called the sin. And we have sinned long, long, long time ago when we lost the paradise. We ate from the apple. So how to resolve that old stuff we're not even aware of because we did it in a previous life. So there's something very interesting. This is scientific evidence of the power of meditation. So what scientists did is they put yogis or meditators in CT scan and they observed them for many years over a long period of time. And they found out quite a lot of astonishing transformation in people who meditate long term. One is it increases social competence. It means you love yourself and you love others and you become a better person. No? Quite nice if you love yourself and you love others. It's a good idea. You like to do that? At ease with yourself, at ease with others, more relaxed, more loving, more compassionate. So your social competence is increasing. The next thing, it deepens relaxation, improves your health. I'm now vegetarian 40 years and try to look after the body and this and that, go sometimes to nature cure. And I remember when I started with my spiritual path, my brother is a GP, a general practitioner, a doctor. He says, Golo, After some years, I will have to give you injection because you have lack of vitamin D's and C and B and whatnot because you become vegetarian. That was 40 years ago. Now, after 40 years, I'm quite fit and quite slim. And my brother is no more that slim and fit like me, you know, and he thinks, maybe you have the most healthy lifestyle of all of us. Because I'm a vegetarian. I don't drink, I don't smoke, no meat, you know, healthy lifestyle. So meditation also helps you and inspires you to look after your body and helps you to control. Very, very important. Excesses. But now very interesting, it increases brain cells and activity. Normally, science does regular scans of your brain, and when you're 30, your brain starts shrinking. You know about that? And when you're 40, you put your mobile phone somewhere and think, where did I put my mobile phone? Have you seen my mobile phone, by the way? It says a black cover. Sonia, she has my mobile phone. Or where are the keys? You have your keys with you? Photo. See, she borrowed my mobile phone. She wanted to do photos. Have you taken a photo? Oh, she has taken a photo. Good. So when you're 40, you lose your keys, you know. This happens, you know. I tell you, when you get older, things get worse. It's only one direction, that is downhill. Why? Because the brain is shrinking. That's what's happening. And they see that in scans. And if you're a boxer, it happens much faster because of the damage of the shocks, you know. But also the normal aging process, the scans, they reveal that the gray brain cells are shrinking. But now, very sensational, if you meditate regular, you can reverse the process. And it increases gray brain cells, which was unheard, because normally they say it's not possible that you can repair these gray brain cells. And it changes the activity in your brain. And this is called the neuronal activity and flexibility. So when you meditate, your neuronal flexibility, you're open for new things, you're able to change, is again increasing. Normally, when you become older, it is decreasing. You don't want to change, you don't want to change your diet, you don't want to change the place where you live. Everything you want to be as it is when you become older. Huh? Then you become, oh, I don't want any change. When you meditate regular, your neural activity is increasing. You're open to new ideas, new concepts, and for change also. And now comes the last thing, which is the most important. It changes habits and awareness. Because what happened is, until the age of 14, our character is being set. We like sweet, we like the color of orange, and I like most big, heavy Mercedes-Benz cars. Huh? With the age of 14, you are set. You know, yesterday we went to the ballet. It was, where was it, Sonia? Opheliaplatz was the ballet. The Königliche Ballet was there. Very nice, and all these prima donnas. The Dying Swan was there from Tchaikovsky, very famous, you know. And I told to Sonia, after this performance, half of the young girls here in the audience, they want to become prima ballerina. Because she was, you know. So when you're young, you create your highways in your brain, your habits, what you like and what you dislike. And when you're 14, 15, your character is set. And then to change it becomes very difficult because you created highways. They're called neuronal highways in your brain. When you fire the neurons that goes this direction, this highway, this direction, you like the color orange, I like Mercedes-Benz. Sisters, they like prima ballerina, you know, when they see that, they become happy and they want to do it, you know. And you will be having difficulties the older you get to change it. But when you meditate regular, you can get rid of your old habits, the anger, the greed, the insecurity, all the negative things which you don't like, you can get rid of them. You can free yourself from the negative program of the past. which is the same like the negative karma of the past, which has influenced you. These are the traumata which are hidden very deep, buried inside your in your psyche. You can change them. You can get rid of the negative vibration which is lingering in your aura, in your angelic vibrational body around you. Through positive thoughts, through the connection with the divine, you can free yourself of the karma of the past. And this is scientifically proven. You can literally renovate yourself, refurbish yourself as per your wishes and ideas. So meditation and a change of thoughts are cooling the mind, create a new reality and a better world. Everything is included in meditation. Change of thoughts, cooling the mind, create new reality, and create a better world. You deal with your old karma, you create beautiful vibration and visualizations, and you're able to create new reality. Isn't that nice? That's called a magician, abracadabra. So when you meditate, you suddenly become abracadabra. Yeah? So Mahatma Gandhi said, always aim at complete harmony of thought, word, and deed. Always aim at purifying your thoughts and everything will be well. Just purify your thoughts, your deeds, everything will be well. So what we have to do is we have to visualize and imagine a beautiful world. You know, there was a very nice song from John Lennon. Imagine all the people living together in peace. La, 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 la. I'm a good singer, actually. Sure. No, I told you I'm a good singer, no, but you're not recognized. But in next life, when my karma is settled. I meanwhile have the patience. So we have to imagine a perfect world. So how is the perfect world should look like? Any idea? What should be there in the perfect world? What's the most important? You don't say anything. You have seen it many times, Sonia. You have to be silent. What's most important in the future world? Beautiful world. Love. You got it. You have 100 points because there it is. Love. Love is the central theme. We love ourselves. We love the world, nature, other people. Everything is love. And where there is love for God, love for myself, love for others, there comes harmony and peace and beauty. Nature is so beautiful still. You know, so beautiful still. But imagine in a Satyuga or Golden Age or paradise, how beautiful then nature will be there. Every morning we make a walk around here, the lake, and there's one place where there's roses. No? Yeah. And some is orange and some is yellow. They look fantastic. Fantastic they look, you know, like such a harmony in these rose petals, you know. So beauty will be there. And then perfection, purity, bliss, prosperity will be there. Everybody will be equal, no poor people. Happiness, timeless and just. And the most beautiful, no internet, no mobile phones, no banks, no doctors, no hospitals. This is paradise, Satyuga.
On earth.
Huh?
Paradise on earth.
Yeah. So I have given you now some ideas, and we have a very nice project called Yogis for Future, where we have meditation commentaries in English, 150, for the self, for the world, for relationship, for self-progress, for becoming an angel, different topics, different themes by nice people, 6 minutes long. You can load it on your mobile phone, you just click it, and you can, today you want the 5 minutes meditation of peace, and you listen to it in the morning, and you become very peaceful. Yogis for the future. So I have come to the end now of this talk. So I know this was a lot of information, a lot of talking. I have introduced you to crazy concepts of time by Sir Roger Penrose, of expanding and collapsing universe, the Big Bang. And Sir Roger Penrose, one of the first guys who gives the answer. He says, after this big bang, there will be a collapse and then again. And interestingly, this corresponds with the old ancient idea of the cycle of time, which was believed by the old Indians, by the old Greek. Even in Christianity, you have some inkling of the cycle. No? And in Brahma Kumaris, we also believe in a cycle of time. It starts with the Sat Yuga, then time means decay. Time doesn't mean progress. Time means decay. And now we are in an old world, in a world which is full of karma, in a world which is in a bad shape and which is undergoing very fast transformation because all the old karma of the past comes up. That's why we have climate change, loss of biodiversity, we have economic crisis, cost of living, everything gets more costly. We have so many problems. Wherever we look, problem. We have even war going on nearby. Some people say this beginning of the Third World War. Why all this is happening? Because the cycle comes to an end and preparation is there for the next Satyuga, age of truth, or golden age, as the Greeks said, or paradise, as the Christians say. So what we have to do in that, we have to understand that our mind is incredibly powerful. Our mind is connected to the world because we observe it and we shape it. Whatever we see, we shape it. And the intention which I have is the key. If I love something and give blessings to it, it grows faster, it becomes more beautiful. We have seen the yogic farming, but we have seen also the experiments in science with Ellen Langer, with the crossword puzzle, with the old people, how powerful our mind is influencing our body and our mindset. And we learned that our mindset is connected to the outside world. And then we have seen how meditation is actually changing this mindset, is able to help us and is able to help us to settle the karma of the past, which is the critical point. Because as Dadi has told us, there are 3 signs. You want to become famous, it doesn't happen. You want nothing, something happens to you suddenly, or you're suffering in relation with friends or relative. If this is there, you have a bag on your shoulders. Yes.
I'd just like to ask, do you think that it matters where you were born?
Yes, see, I'm born in Germany, and Germany is a very delicate country because it started 2 world wars. And when I grown up, I could sense that, you know, in the 60s, there was a lot of tension about that. And my parents, they were traumatized through the war. My mother lost her younger brother in the war, which was her most beloved one. And he died on the last day of the war by a sharpshooter. So very sad story. And she was bitterly crying even 20 years later. My father was from the East, which is now Poland. So he was 17. They pulled him into, they grabbed him out of school. He couldn't do anything. They put him in the army. And he was 25 or 26 when the war was over. And his home was gone. His parents were all over, you know. And he got deeply traumatized, deeply traumatized. So it matters where you are born.
Yes. Yeah.
And it is a reflection. It's a
all
reflection. Yeah, it's a reflection. It's a reflection of your karma. Because whenever you leave the body and you take rebirth, according to the karmical situation, you get attracted and pulled towards certain parents and towards a certain situation, because that's where you are supposed to learn. And that's where your karma pulls you. So your birthplace is very important. But the good news is, if you meditate regular, you can free yourself of the influence of your birthplace. You can free yourself of the astrological constellation under which you are born, which is a big thing. Because you reset your mind. You deal with the traumas of the past, and you free yourself of the influences of your old actions, which have been imprinted in you and which are hunting you. You have created a computer program long time ago, many births. When you meditate, you start slowly erasing. You get rid of the viruses. You slowly throw the things from the hard disk which are making your computer slow. and you reset your computer and make it smart and clean and proper again. You might have this experience now that you have a computer and after 5 years it becomes so slow and so bad because so many things happened. So in meditation, you level the playing field. And that is why meditation is so important. And here is our Yogis for Future, where you can learn this meditation. And here we have our web pages. This is the general Brahma Kumaris. This is our environment webpage. And as you heard, Sonia said, we're going regular to the climate conference. We're doing a lot of talks, programs, interviews there, and we try to inspire people to change their mindset, to change, become loving and compassionate and become healers of the world. Because it's not a question of money or strategy or policy or technology. It's a question that you open your heart and you connect to the world and send your love and compassion to the world. So that's what we're doing at the environmental situation. We have also Yogis for Future, and we have a solar webpage where we highlight all our activities in the field of renewable energies. We're working since 25 years in research and development of solar technology in India. We're one of the biggest users of solar in India also. So we're trying to be very practical also with the solar activity, which we're doing. So you got all these informations, lots and lots of information and lots to digest and think about it. And we finish with a meditation. Yeah, anybody has a question anymore? One more question, yes?
Yes. So I understand that you can free yourself from your bad comment by meditation.
Yes.
But then what if, for example, like a person like Wayne Dyer, like why does he get cancer? And he's meditating, a good person.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand.
Okay, so she was asking why suddenly some person can get sick, for example, and get cancer. So you see, what happened is you're dealing in your life situation with two things. One is your current mindset, how you feel. You can be a good person, you know. You can love animals and you can have doggies and pet them and feed them nicely. And then other dog comes and bites you, you know, suddenly. And then they say, why are you biting me? You know, I'm looking after the animals. I love animals. Maybe you have done something bad in a previous life to that doggy. Similar, your health is influenced right now by karma of the past and your current mindset. You can be a good person, but because of karma of the past, some disease is in the pipeline. No, like, for example, I swallowed that tablet, you know, and of course, I didn't want it. And if I could have, I would have avoided it by any means, you know, it was quite dramatic. But I did it, you know, and I couldn't do anything. It just came like a tsunami. But I had luck in even this dramatic situation, because I have still good karma with the body and the health situation, because I helped in this life. I created a charitable trust and I brought a lot of equipment to India for the hospital. So the doctor knows me and he knows what I've done. He said, immediately come, immediately CT scan, immediately next day. The ENT specialist came, another doctor came, 2 anesthesia doctors came, the 6 people in the operation theater, 9 o'clock, pang, I was on the table and they saved me because I had good karma in the bad karma. So even when you have cancer, some people, they suffer, it's a big problem and they die. And some people, they don't suffer at all. They get operated, they get some treatment and they're fine, you know? So everything depends on your karmical constellation and everything depends on your current mindset. So the current mindset, you can work on that by blessing yourself in the morning and meditate regular. And the karma of the past, you can start dealing with it by connecting to the supreme light. Because as we have seen, when you meditate, it is changing your mindset and your neuronal pathways in your brain. and you're able to change the habits and the traumata of the past, which is basically your karma. It's with you. Your karma is all the time with you. All right, so let's have a meditation. Thank you very much. And Sonia will do some nice light. We have a bit of music. So I'm relaxing myself. Take a deep breath. And I relax my shoulders. I breathe into my stomach. And I relax my mind. I understand now that I'm actually quite powerful. And I understand that I have also a big responsibility. I am a peaceful being of light. This is my true nature. I am a loving and peaceful being of light. I'm now connecting to the supreme being of light. The father and mother who is watching and who is aware what is going on. I, the soul, connect to the supreme light. Peace, love, and power are coming to me. I'm sending love and compassion to my own life, into my past. I'm sending love and compassion and forgiveness to all the traumata, the bad situations in my life. I heal my life. I heal myself. I am good. And everything in my life will become very good. I understand that my mindset, my thoughts are very important. I am peace. I am love. I am strength. I'm sending these vibrations to my relatives, to my partner, to my husband, to my kids, to my brothers and sisters, my friends at work, to all the people I know and I meet. Love, peace, compassion. Everything is good and will become better. Nothing to worry about. I'm sending these vibrations to the nature. to climate change, to the forest, to the air, to the earth, and to the water. Love and compassion. May you become beautiful. May you become harmonious. May you become peaceful. I'm sending my love and compassion to all those war zones, to all those places in the world where people do suffer. I give them my love, peace, and compassion. Because I understand what I think and what I feel has a profound impact. The world is a reflection of my mind. And with the help of the divine being, the mother and father of all of us, I transform myself. I become a better person. And I bring change to this world. I'm holding the world in my hands. And I send peace and love to the world. And I can see how the world is changing and becomes beautiful. And my life is changing also. It is also becoming beautiful. All tension, all fear of the future is moving away. I am free. I am happy. I am a being of light. I am immortal. This is my true nature. This is the power of meditation. It changes everything. I'm slowly coming back and relax. Om Shanti. So I hope you all felt in this short meditation how the atmosphere was changing and how we all became different and beautiful. Could you feel it? That's the power of meditation. So thank you very much from my heart
Thank
for all
you
of
very
you
much.
coming.
It's amazing how you are able to connect so many different viewpoints and areas of life and boil it down to regular meditation and connection to God. It's amazing. And it's such a nice thought that we're all connected all the time. So thank you very much. And I have recorded it, so I will put it on YouTube if you want to see it again and maybe study some of the slides. We have a leaflet there where you can read some of our environmental work, also about yogic farming and the solar and everything. And this is the bookmark for the Yogis for Future. Och sen two colleagues of Golo are coming here later in the summer. So Judy från Canada, hon kommer här på det i juli och hon håller ett foredrag om unity. Och sen har vi Aneta. Hon är från Polen. Hon har arbetat i 10 år på det här solenergistället som Golo också har varit och startat. Och hon håller föredrag om intention i augusti. Men det ligger på hemsidan. Eller så har vi ju våra aftensmeditationer och vi har vår positiv tänkning lördag. So many things going on. Yes. So thank you. And vi har lite water and some fruit and some sweets. And visst ni har lust att ta klass agurkavann eller vattenmelon så är ni välkomna till det på vägen.
Tack så mycket.
I choose something.